Hello? Am I here alone again? Oh my God.
One thing, Dave, is that we never agree on something. We're always when yes, when no. I mean, we cannot
So it wasn't common experience?
generalize.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was unique amongst each of you. Right. This is what I'm saying about maps of reality. There are some commonalities that we share, right? But there are a lot of differences too. And the differences can be very specifically identified with submodalities. What other experiences did you have? Did you notice any of these submodalities that would change spontaneously if you shifted one?
Well, yeah, I found that
Sure.
so clearly when the kinesthetic and the visual.
Mm-hmm.
When I intensify one, the other diminishes. When I intensify the other diminishes.
Okay.
So what Ron suggested was that I shift them together and see what happens. And that was really interesting.
What happened?
So when I intensified the visual, my kinesthetic groundedness and awareness of the ground
Right.
shifted to a lightness.
Okay.
And when I intensified it the other way around, I found that the visual deepened and darkened in tone and color.
As you did what with?
As I connected that with the visual and the sense of the ground beneath me.
Okay, so as you had a sense of greater grounding kinesthetically, the visual began to get richer and deeper, is that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. It worked sort of the opposite when you did it the other way.
Yeah.
Interesting. So they ride on each other, they're linked
Yeah.
in unique ways. Okay?
I found that when you were speaking earlier about making something more granular as far as the picture
Right,
was concerned.
grainy, yeah.
Yeah, what I found is that things became very, very distinct as far as emotion was concerned. Whereas if I had a very blended picture, the emotions were more blended as well.
Okay.
Like I had the meta response that I had towards it
Right.
was a mixture of emotion.
Okay.
Whereas it became very digital once I made it granular.
Ah, interesting. So it's, in a sense, it's a way to have a strategy for becoming more precise in emotional response for you.
Yeah.
Right? Interesting. So you can sort out emotions simply by making visual submodality
That's right.
changes. Very neat. Okay. Other observations? It was fun. Hey, listen, I think submodalities, I mean, you know, using your brain for a change, is a great way to play with the tool. I mean, it's tremendous fun to do this. The thing is, you know, submodalities are really interesting because in NLP we explore a lot of genres that are unconscious before we explore them. You think back to your practitioner, you were doing things with eye accessing cues, sensory acuity, linguistic structure, right, the meta model. And these are things that people have in an ongoing way as their output or their experience, and they're simply unaware of. People are not aware of how their eyes are moving or, you know, whether they're using a universal quantifier or something like this. But once you are aware and you can detect the pattern, right, then structure pops out to you as an NLP practitioner. The same is true of submodalities. Generally, people respond to their submodality changes, but they're not necessarily consciously aware. They don't go, wow, I just made that picture of my friend a lot bigger and brighter, and I feel much more emotionally engaged now. It just happens, and they feel emotionally engaged. So what I'm suggesting is that the exploration of submodalities literally is a precise exploration of someone's unconscious process. And when you do submodality work, that's the level of consciousness that you're participating with, right? You're shifting unconscious structure. And in order to do good submodality work, you have to have the kind of skill you are developing in this little exploration. You have to have some precision of your own in being able to make these distinctions yourself, right? Then, when you're working with someone and they describe their experiences, you have at least some idea of how to recreate their experience, to create their map of the world so you can enter into their map of the world. But so part of these little challenges up front are a way for you to enhance your behavioral flexibility. Become more and more aware of what are you really doing in there? What's going on inside that head? What are you doing with your pictures and your sounds and your feelings and all these little submodalities? Because then when you work with others, there's a precision and application of that. Okay, and hopefully you did, everybody tried more than just visual. You did some auditory kinesthetic. This group over here did olfactory, right? And Jim's response was that when he intensified the smell, it kind of sucked in the visual. Right? Interesting choice of words, right? It's just I inhaled my pictures and they disappeared. But I didn't inhale. No. Well, Jim inhales. What can I tell you? So, I mean, to me, it's a fascinating thing. It truly is. And the thing is, it's going on all the time. All the time, you know. There's a dance between external awareness and internal awareness. And the thing about internal awareness is that think about what you are generally aware of internally in your everyday life. And I'm going to make the claim that it ain't much. It ain't much. You know, you're aware of what hits you emotionally. You know, you're aware of your emotional responses. You know, you're hungry, you want to go do something or whatever. But in terms of precision of what you're doing, most of us don't really attend that closely or tune in that clearly to what's going on inside of us. And to the degree that we can do that, we can begin to make these subtle shifts in our maps of reality, which is essentially the point of NLP. And submodalities are really, really neat because they give you a precision in adjustment of these processes that nothing else in NLP does, right? So,
Could I
yeah,
share something on that?
please do it.
I've noticed that there's a sort of, when you talk about everyday life, there's
Right.
a certain laziness that I have about working on these things at that time.
Right.
However, in a crisis, they're blooming useful.
Absolutely, yeah.
I had a robbery in my house once, and I found that this came in and was just so useful. The memory I have of the robbery is now this little black and white picture.
There you go.
Far away.
Right.
And I found myself doing it at the time.
Right, great,
So
spontaneous
I could
use.
sleep in bed the next night, and I was just like, wow.
Right, right.
My next door neighbor couldn't, but I could.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, this is the beauty of this kind of work. Someone that isn't aware of this, you know, often you have a traumatic event in your life, and you code it, you link a certain submodality structure to the event to give you a sense of overwhelm, right? Let's say it's a robbery, or you confront the robber in your living room, and there he is, right there, and he's big, bright, and you feel fear. Most people, that becomes coded. That's the way they experience it. So every time they see something in the environment that reminds them, or every time they think of it, they go through the same traumatic response. With NLP, you know, the precision of submodalities, you can begin to make submodality changes to shift that, so you're in a much more resourceful state. And that's what we're going to be exploring with a review of the swish pattern right after we take a 14-minute and 20-second break. We'll be back here at 11.